What is up, everyone? So today I'm going to break down my Clan Boss team, the Fu Myth Clan Boss team, where we have Fushan in the lead. You have your damage dealer. So basically you have two damage dealers here, along with Seeker, Demitha, and either Harris or Tahanarak. Either one of those two will work. So I'm going to break down this team. The last video I did, there was a lot of feedback on it was too fast. I didn't go through everyone's masteries in detail. And so I'm just going to break down the team, the skills, the masteries, the setup, and I'm going to be slow, thorough, and hopefully that eliminates all excuses down the road. So who do we have on the team? First of all, we'll break down gear, speeds, requirements, and masteries. So to start, I have Harris as basically the first champ on the list. I do have Harris in attack with speed, so she doesn't need accuracy. You can build her with max attack. So if you can get attack with a banner, crit damage, amulet, and I just went HP to boost her HP up to not get targeted. But ideally, if you can get attack in there, that would be even better. Seems to work for me, but at the point I'm at right now, why break, why fix what's not broken? So I'm going to leave it at that. Stat wise, she is at 261 speed, 31,000 HP, almost 32,000 HP, close to 4,000 attack, and some good crit damage. So with Harris, her true speed needs to be over 282.9. So when you go ahead and punch her into the calculator, that brings Harris's range from like 259 to 263. But in order for Spirit to work, you're looking at, I believe it's, depending on the gear setup, 260 to 263 in that range. 261 works for me at this point. Masteries wise, I did go with Lore of Steel here just for the extra speed boost, because 261 is quite hard to do, and I get that. But the important piece here is no masteries that affect turn meter or that affect skill reduction. And this is important because, I've got comments, I've copied your team, but it's not working. And it's so hard to pinpoint exactly why it's not working. Typically, it comes down to gear and masteries. There's a true speed that's off. It could be just a half a point that's off, and all of a sudden your whole team is thrown out of whack. Okay? So take a close look at your masteries. Nothing that affects turn meter, nothing that affects skill reduction on Harris, Demitha, or Seeker. That is important. Okay? So there's Harris gear. I went with a full gear setup, full speed setup, attack where you can, crit rate, and crit damage where you can, and of course, enough speed to hit your requirements. The second champion we have on the list is Demitha. Okay, Demitha, again, needs no accuracy. We can go with attack and speed requirements with crit damage. I try to get as much revenge accessories as I can on my champions so that when they're hit, they can counterattack. Harris has a pre-built into her passive, so you don't need to worry about that. However, if you go to Hanorak, you might want to put some revenge on there. In terms of stats, again, we have 290 speed. Again, this is quite important to be at. 290, 291, you're at a very tight range here of where to Mythos speed. Now she only has a double hit every turn. When she's putting up debuffs, she's not hitting. So stat wise, it's less required. Like she maybe will do anywhere from 7 to 9 million damage. Try to get some stats on her, but the most important part here is speed. Okay. I have her in a full speed set. Accuracy or masteries wise, again, she doesn't need accuracy. I did not need the Laura Steel. I went with the counterattack masteries instead. So as the champs get stunned, which is where deterrence comes in, or as she gets hit, she has that chance, 50% chance if she loses HP. Because this is a block attack, it's only really at the beginning. Deterrence is where it more comes in because our champs do get stunned. So we have that 20% chance to counterattack every third turn of the boss. So this is more important. Retribution, not so much because we're on a counterattack and no one's losing HP. War Master pretty much on everybody. Seeker. Now Seeker is a little tricky here. So again, counterattack are these revenge accessories as much as you can. You get them in the clan shop. You can just buy them with clan coin. I do recommend you use your clan coin for this purpose. But I do have also Seeker doesn't need accuracy, so get him in as much attack as you can. Stat wise, he's only at 183 speed, so you can get away with potentially some attack percent boots. So I do have him in one piece attack with a retaliation set. Retaliation has that 35% chance to counterattack, plus the additional 5% here from the revenge accessory. And if I had better revenge accessories that didn't drop my stats so much, I'd have them in more. Masteries wise, same thing. We have counterattack masteries down here with deterrence and War Master as well. Again, no need for accuracy here and no need for skill reducing whatsoever. So no refresh accessories as well. We don't want their skills to be put on cooldown because it will throw everything off. Now, Seeker's speeds do matter. Seeker does range from 180 to 184. However, Seeker's true speed must be greater than your DPS champion, which is going to be not Fushan, your other DPS champion that you bring. So you do need to actually calculate. There is a calculation. So 7.15 divided by 7.8. You can find this all on Deadwood Jedi's website, and the link is then below. But you're going to have to do some math here, and then you're going to have to plug in Seeker's true speed to figure out what his true speed is, do the calculation, and that needs to be greater than your DPS champion's true speed. Okay, so for me, 183 works. That's towards the higher end, but that allows my DPS champion, which is Dracomorph, to be at 166 speed. Now, when you look, your DPS should be at 168 to 169. I can get away with a DPS of 166 because, again, of the two-piece perception, because of the Laura Steel here, which all affects true speed, and how Seeker is built, 166 works with the setup that I have. Okay. Now you're going to find on Deadwood Jedi's website, it recommends 168 to 169. It could work from 168 or 169, but your Seeker speed is going to need to be higher because, again, for Spirit Affinity to work, Seeker's true speed needs to be greater than the calculation. The higher your DPS champion's true speed, the higher Seeker needs to be. And if Seeker is going to be pushed over 188, 189, it may not even work in the group altogether. Okay. So this is where speeds are important, and I can't stress this enough. True speeds are important. So Draco's at 166 right now. As much crit damage and attack as you can get. If you noticed, I'm running Draco with Brimstone, so I don't care for the added attack because Brimstone doesn't bring me attack. War Master, no turn meter reductions here. Your DD could have Cycle of Magic, so you get the skills up. It's not needed, but depending on which damage dealer you do bring in, you could decide to put that on. But again, max attack, accuracy on your damage dealer as you can. And then Fushan is the last. Fushan will be your lead. Okay, Fushan needs to be at 185. No special number here, but 185 to 195. So there's quite a large range. Just make sure that it works in your calculations and the calculator when you put them in. But Fushan does have a large range. I keep them towards the lower range so I can put attack percent boots on them. And again, as much crit damage you can get, attack you can get. I do run them with Brimstone. So I did run them with an attack banner. This is pre-Brimstone nerf. So my Brimstone on Fushan barely lands at 100 accuracy. But to remove a close to 1,000 attack just to get Brimstone to land a little bit more is not worth it as far as I'm concerned to nerf him that much. So I decided to not put on accuracy here and just leave him as is. It still does land because of the nerf, the extra 5% nerf here. I do go with the double up and it does periodically land, which is why I do keep smite on him, but that's totally up to you. Masteries wise, again, we went with a little bit of Lore of Steel to get the added attack. No turn meter reduction, no Cycle of Magic, although you could put Cycle of Magic on, and then War Master as well. So that is my breakdown of my champion's gear. I did get crazy good stats here, and I did roll crit damage on crit damage, so I got 100% crit damage on these gloves, which is pretty darn cool. I also went with an attack percent banner because I got a triple roll. I could go, I don't have a revenge accessory for crit damage. That's higher. The max I'm going to get here is 33%, but I'm going to lose out on, so I'm going to gain myself 8% crit damage and lose out on 200 attack, which is actually quite huge. So that's why I have that. And then again, I don't have a better ring at this point to beef up that anymore. So it is what it is. Again, don't roll your boots because this is the only one you can get speed on. If you roll speed on your boots, it could throw your whole team out of whack. So when you're ascending your gear, just be very careful on that. So those are the team breakdown with speed, stats, and now we're just going to go into the setup here. I don't have a key, so I'm just going to go somewhere over here just to show you the breakdown of the team. Fushan will be in the lead. I turn off this A2. It doesn't do as much damage, even fully booked. The only benefit is it's a double hit if you need the Brimstone extra proc potential, but it doesn't do as much damage as the A1 does. So I have it off. The A3 is a 4-hitter, also puts out a decreased defense, which does come in handy as that first hit to really lower that defense right away. It also comes in handy because that's 4 times that Brimstone could proc. And the 4 hits on the A3 is a guaranteed double hit on the A1. So why not keep it in there? One would argue, and people have argued, just turn it all off and keep the A1 only. By turning this on, you're doing 3 things. One, you're guaranteeing the damage of a 4-hitter. I'm looking at 80k times 4, right? That's 350k damage. That's as much damage as an A1 hit is doing. B, I'm landing decreased defense. So if your damage dealer doesn't do decreased defense, which it should, you can have Fushan do that. And C, I have 4 chances to proc Brimstone. So those are the 3. Again, 185 speed. I put Dracomorph second, and this is important. Okay, Dracomorph goes second. And now this is going to be whichever damage dealer you have. Prioritize your skills, figure it out. It really depends on what your damage dealer. Feign, Annex, they could all work in here. Dracomorph's amazing. And ideally anyone with a weaken, because Fushan brings a decreased defense, would also work. Arguably a Geomancer could work in here as well. I just didn't like the slow speed and the damage nerf that he does take. You have much more potential with Toxic Set. Third, we have Seeker. So we're going to open with the A1 and then prioritize the A2 here on Seeker. That is important here. Demitha, we're going to prioritize the A1 and then the A2. Sorry, the A3 prioritize, then the A2. So we're going to get the block out first and then the extend right away. And then Harris is going to be last. And you have to prioritize this A1, sorry, the A2, because if there's no debuffs out, she will not use the skill. So you have to prioritize this right away. Okay. Now I do put Demitha way down here in second last spot, because when you are on Magic Affinity, the boss does tend to target random people. And what we want to do is it's not going to target a Force Affinity because they're strong. It's going to go to one of the 3 neutral affinity champs, and you don't want Demitha to be targeted. Okay, so try to put her lower on the totem pole, and hopefully they target either Draco or Seeker first on the first stun. It's only on, if I'm not mistaken, Ultra Nightmare and maybe Brutal, but Nightmare, you're fine. There's no need because it syncs up good. So that is the team setup. By all means, backtrack it, pause it, look at the setups, look at the gear requirements. But that's a thorough breakdown of the team, how it works. This team, exactly as built, works. If you put 3-piece perception on your damage dealer, it will throw off the true speed. So it is very important to put in the speeds into the calculator. And I'm just going to flip to my calculator here just to show you how it works. All right. So as we talked about, here are the speed requirements. This is for Spirit Affinity so that you can see the true speed requirement. I'm just blowing that up so you could see it bigger. Okay, so Harris does need to be over 282.9, and then the DPS also needs to be, here's the equation. Okay, so do this calculation, which is roughly that number, multiply it by Seeker's true speed, and it should work. Okay, and so what we're going to go ahead and do, if you scroll to the bottom, is here is the calculator, and this is what the calculator looks like. So by default, you're going to have the 24% speed here, which is the aura for Fushan. You're going to plug in your speed requirements. Okay, so I have Demitha at 290. When you click it, you can actually change the set here to be 3 speed. And if she has Laura Steele, you'll select that because it does change the true speed. And then the prioritization of skills also appears here. We do have, excuse me, the A1 goes first and then the A2 goes second. So we do have that delay, which you can see here. The A3 goes first and the A2 goes second. Harris speed is at 261, which we are prioritizing that that's increased speed and decreased turn, the cleanse. Again, when you click her, you can change it to, well, I have 3-piece speed. And as you see, this true speed does slightly change with Lore of Steel. Okay. So now that true speed of 283.47, if we go back to our calculation, needs to be over 282.90. Okay. So if we go to 260, she's now below 282.90 and therefore does not work. Okay. Even though the requirements here for Harris are 290 to 291, 259 to 263, it does not work. Okay. So for Spirit Affinity, which is defaulted here. So it needs to be 261. You can go increase it. As you could see, we can go all the way up to 263. But once we hit to 264, we start to lose sync. It basically syncs a little bit later. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. As you can see, we sync up nicely at turn 5 versus syncing up at turn 6. So we are going to be taking a stun here, which we ideally want to sync up sooner than later. Okay, so 261 to 263 in full speed gear. Fushan 185, which is exactly what I have my Fushan at. My Fushan is in 0. No Lore of Steel and 0 speed set. Okay, and then you could see it works. My Seeker is at 183 in 1 speed set. Again, no Lore of Steel. And then here you can add whatever damage dealer you have. In my case, it's Dracomorph. And my Draco has 2-piece Perception and has Lore of Steel. Okay. So now the equation here is Seeker's true speed. So let's open up a calculator, which is 7.15 divided by 7.8, which will get you that 0.916667 number. And then you're going to multiply that by Seeker's true speed, which in my case is 183, 208.07, 208.07. So 190.73. My damage dealer needs to be less than 190.73. In this case, it is not. That doesn't mean it's not going to work, because as you can see in the calculator, it does work. We do need to drop that 190. So I have to drop mine to 166. As you can see, it looks a little different. Okay. But I still have a full sync at turn 5. It's a little different at 168. So I'm a little more vulnerable at 166, but it still syncs up and it still works. And my true speed is less than that of Seeker, so it works. If you're going to go up to 168, 169, right, your Seeker is going to have to be potentially, and as you can see, it does not work. Okay. So Seeker can only be 184 at the max. And let's divide 208.07, multiply by 209.07, 191.64. As you can see, Draco is still too fast. Therefore, this will not work under Spirit Affinity. You will have to potentially drop. And there you go, 191.15. We are now under that. So this is what I'm saying. Gear does matter. You can still see the sync works at 168, but we cannot use 2-piece perception. You can only use 1-piece perception. And no perception actually increases that as well. So 1-piece perception is enough to make Seeker at 184 work for Draco to be at 168. So gear does matter. Calculations do matter. True speed does matter. All of this does matter. It takes a lot of work to make it work. But this is how you can utilize the calculator and the equations that are listed here to make it work. Hopefully that detailed breakdown helps. This is what I do with all my teams when I do takeovers. It takes a while, it takes hours. Give it some time. Gear matters. Stats matter. Speed matters. Masteries matter. It all matters. Hopefully this helps. Catch you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.